It is Tuesday, rawmike.richards.com. Broadcasting live from the DKI studios in downtown Toronto, 234 King Street East out of the Pacific Junction Hotel. And coming up today, and I guess for a lot of people here in Toronto, getting up this morning, finding about the news of Blue Jays historic broadcaster Jerry Howarth announcing his retirement. So this is, I think, tough for a city that actually completely understands that he is such a fantastic human being that also just was and is a Hall of Fame quality broadcaster for the Blue Jays after all these years. And so for him to step down, we know he had, I believe it was prostate cancer that he has gone through, and now that is not the topic or the point of issue. It's just the fact that after all these years that he is going to step down, and you think of the 36 years of calling Blue Jay games. So at 71, I think it's reasonable that maybe someone just says, let's call it a day. He is just one of my favorites. So we'll talk about that. We also we'll talk about something here locally in Toronto, which is pretty cool. It's been around for a long time, but Petrina Gentili is going to come in and join us in studio. We're going to talk about the auto show, the Canadian International Auto Show that's taking place here at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. It has been all over the place over the years, Dave. There's times where the Skydome at the time, now the Rogers Centre,
yep.
they had it in there, and working with the Fan in the day. So that's the Fan 5-9, and myself and John Derringer. We would do like a Saturday, and we'd go in Saturday morning, sort of, like 10 to noon or whatever it was, about 9 to noon, and then check out all the cars. But that's a pretty cool thing to go to, even if you're not a gearhead. Like, you don't necessarily have to be the guy that opens up, what's it called, a hood? Yeah, hood. And go, it's your Gagnum pole. Need a new Gagnum pole. I'm obviously not one of those guys. But when you see like a new, I don't know, Tesla or Lamborghini or Aston Martin, Porsche, all the vehicles that we're never, ever going to purchase. It's not going to happen.
I remember doing the Winnipeg chapter of it. It was way before I was 18, so I'm guessing I was probably 15 or 16 years old, and we were hired by a temp company. My friend's dad ran it, so he said, gather up 4 or 5 of your friends. I'll pay you $5 an hour, or whatever the hell it was back in the day. And everybody thought, whoa, we'll be there for 5 hours and make $25 or $40 or whatever it was. It was just, we kind of laugh at it now. And we were all given chamois, little chamois rags. And we'd have to go up to the cars after the people have ummed and oh'd over it and done one of these. And we had to shine it when they left.
That was the job?
That was the job, yeah.
Hard working, Dave Pastel.
I was a grinder back then. Woo, man, look where it got me.
Yeah, yeah, doing a show out of a bar. Yeah, we've all come a long way, haven't we, Dave? But you're right, though. It is a little mesmer. But I love all the winter, so to speak, indoor kinds of shows. Like if it's a boat show.
Yes.
If it's the international
we're
camping.
Kind of in that season right now.
Yeah. Oh, boat show definitely is coming up. But
boat show, garden show, home show, renovation show, car show.
The sportsman show is something that my family used to go all the time.
Golf show was last weekend, I
golf
believe.
shows huge.
Yeah. Like
those golf shows, and we'll get Sakino when he stops traveling around, rubbing shoulders with Jerry Rice and Joe Montana.
That's right.
All those pictures. We get it, Sakino. We get it.
Russell told me about the porn show happening, the Triple X show.
Actually,
yeah, there is everything about sex show, right?
Well, but in Vegas, when my brother went, Scotty, a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
The big
really,
Poonie Awards.
Oh, the porn. That's right. The porn, like the porn Grammys,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Or
the Oscars.
Or the Oscars. Whatever you want to. Yeah, Oscars is more.
Like best ski poles goes to Russell Graham.
Graham again.
Bum, bum.
I'd like to thank my brother who gave me some tips in Sweden.
Okay, that was disturbing. That whole thing that I just did there is
that did not sound like Russell.
Your brother does not want to hear about that. I can guarantee you. We will talk also the Leafs. Russell, those Leafs.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby's right.
You must have been pretty happy about that 3-0 lead and then watch it disappear, eh?
Disappear.
Still ended in 2 points.
See, once again, Dave Bastel with the just cannot give it up. Just cannot give it up. In his Slovenia jersey.
Yes.
It's the first time I've seen you wear that, I think.
United States, Slovenia tomorrow at 7:10 a.m. So we'll be up to watch it.
So we've got to start taking a look at some of those lines.
Yeah. USA on the puck line favored by 3.5 goals. They're not going to cover it.
Who's the United Korean Unification All Friends Hands Across Korea team? When do they play?
They actually play. It's not tomorrow. It's the following day. I was looking at their schedule.
It's got to be minus. If you don't do -5 or 6.5.
Yeah.
If it is, we'll take a look at that. And I know it's not really the Christian or the moral or ethical higher road when you look at guys who probably don't know how to tie up their skates and take advantage of that to wager on it for your own self-benefit. But I'm telling you, that's exactly what we're going to do.
By the way, there's some more props on Sports Interaction. You can bet now top goal scorer in men's hockey. Ilya Kovalchuk is a 7-1 favorite to win it all, so 7 times
your money is excellent.
Pretty good reference too. When you look at it, Mike, you know what's really funny? It's people sit there and say, "Oh, I don't know about this Russian team." The top 6, money line goal scorers, 5 of them are from Russia to win the scoring title. So if Russia doesn't mop up here and destroy the field like they will, starting with Slovakia tomorrow at 7:10, and bet that now in Sports Interaction.
Is it 3.5?
It's 2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
That's what I got. Yep, 2.5. So they have that out there as well now. So definitely jump on that.
Can you bet exact score? Because sometimes that happens in soccer, and I do that all the time.
I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't be.
Because if you click on one of those games, if you go down, if one of them is predict score, it's huge money. Like I do that when Barcelona is playing. Well, I didn't do it this past weekend, obviously, because that was a disaster. Actually, I flipped in a draw because it looked like with Getafe. I think Getafe 0-0 in Barca. Like I was like, whoa, what is that? So sometimes you can say, okay, if Barcelona's playing whoever, name the team, Celtic Vigo or whatever. I'm like, I'll start at 3. Mm-hmm. Because again, with the golfers, I'll do 3, 4, 5, 0. If I think it's going to be that.
Sure.
If it hits one of those, it's a 4, a 5, or like a 6 sometimes.
I don't think they have that on there because usually they only have the totals, puck line, money line, and sometimes first to score. Canada, Switzerland, by the way, is on Thursday morning. Czech Republic, South Korea. That's their first game, same time zone at that time. So that's the one that my bet was taken away.
Oh, that's real great.
When I bet Czech Republic to win that, and they went, no, we made a mistake. Oops.
Well, we'll actually do something nice here.
Fire.
I met Jerry Howarth. I'm trying to think the first year I would have met him. So I guess it's when I first started the Fan. So that's probably, it's going back. So when I'm saying the Fan, I'm talking about the Toronto Fan. That would have been 1994. 1994. And the thing that is always amazing about Jerry, and definitely you're going to hear a lot of this because it's what everyone's first real experience with Jerry is. Mm-hmm. So you meet him once, he'll ask you about your family, then you'll meet Jerry 2 years later. Like let's say it's a fan, you're just someone who doesn't go to the game a lot, and then he'll come up and go, "Oh hey Dave, nice to meet you. By the way, how's Irene? How's Marissa?" He remembers every single thing about you, and it's a sincerity about it that when I sometimes talk about the Mount Rushmore of sometimes it's sports figures, sometimes it's who represents a given city or a country. I think when I'm looking at the all-time superhuman beings of Toronto, the first 2 guys that come to my mind, Jerry Howarth and Michael Clemens. Like those 2 individuals, I'm hard-pressed to think that I have literally met better people than that because I don't know if I have. And Jerry Howarth is awesome.
And it's funny, both of those now Canadians were Americans.
Yeah.
And had probably at one stage, Jerry's from California, Michael, I think he's from Florida, right? He's in the Florida area.
He grew up in Tampa. Michael's
Yes.
Tampa resident.
So you look at that and you go, growing up, they probably had, if somebody tells them at the age of like 10, you're gonna spend most of your adult career making a major difference in Toronto, Canada. You'd never believe it. That's how life changes and it takes a different place.
Toronto got lucky.
Yes,
Toronto got lucky. There's so many places he
absolutely.
could have gone. As I said, he grew up in San Francisco. He was born in York, Pennsylvania, which I've not really even. That's not familiar to me because he was a West Coast guy.
Yeah. Santa Clara is where he graduated from school. I know that.
So he ends up doing the Pacific Coast League.
Yes, PCL.
In 1974 with Tacoma. He joined the Blue Jays in 1981 and has called Toronto home ever since, obviously, as you just mentioned, becoming a Canadian citizen. He is, there's some kind words. I know Scott Moore was very emotional. He was on the Fan in Toronto this morning and welling up because if you know the man, there's just so many things about him, including going back and coaching high school basketball.
And he loves it too, and he's done it for so long.
Well, we'd get into conversations
That's
about
very
basketball.
Cool. That's very cool.
I said, so are you an aggressive coach? Are you throwing chairs?
No, actually, I've never done. No, I've never.
I don't
never
think
thrown
he's
a chair.
a Bobby Knight.
No.
No.
And I said, but I said, what about full court press? You pressing? He goes,
Actually, I do like to press.
it's like the nice Jerry Howarth, full court press. Wow, love it. But literally was spoiled that Jerry, and I know that after his fight with cancer, that came just kind of after mine, like it sort of crossed. And I remember not having a way. Like I didn't get a message to him. Sometimes it is that way.
Yeah.
Our good friend Pierre Maguire going through the same thing. Now he's over in South Korea,
He
so I
is,
haven't talked to
absolutely
him.
is.
So, these things happen in life, and you just always hope the best for the best people. And for Jerry Howarth, I'll always be indebted. I know there's a lot of people on Twitter today saying, what about the evil Jerry Howarth? I think for today, we probably will let that one go. Not that, Jerry's fully aware of what I do because he is Jerry is Jerry. He gets just like Michael Clemens. They're funny people. They've got a great sense of humor.
Sure they do. Yeah, absolutely.
And I thank them for that because there's a lot of years. And I think between the two of them for what I've done in the last 30 years in this business, both of those voices have been pretty front and center. So they've had to have a pretty good sense of humor and patience with someone like myself. So God bless you, Jerry. What a wonderful job you've done for us here in Toronto. And thank you for the outstanding work that you have done, not only just with the city in Toronto, but for all of Major League Baseball. So thanks. You're watching Raw Mike Richards, either on .com or, of course, the dedicated YouTube site. And I guess here in Toronto, as we mentioned, Blue Jay season, not that far away because guys are reporting.
Yeah, starting to.
I mean, it's
they're usually in place too a couple weeks before, just getting used to the weather, working out themselves, groups of friends, teammates, and so forth. So, but they'll start to track their way in. It's almost like it's so casual too. Spring training is so much fun, even covering it. Because a lot of times
it's the best, I think. That's a great gig.
Well, what I used to like to do, because I've been to about 3 or 4 of them, a couple one in Phoenix, which is way better than Florida. I know the Blue Jays are out of Florida. I'm sorry.
You were in the Cactus or
the Cactus League,
yeah,
the Angels. Yeah. The Angels play out of Tempe, so it's just
a
suburb of.
Didn't suck.
No, it was pretty awesome. So basically. The tricks of the trade is this, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling anybody's, next month's assignment kind of thing is, but you go down there as a reporter, you bang off about 10 interviews in that first day. Out of those 10 interviews, you create 3 or 4 stories. You do those stories, you work your ass off that first day, then you take a couple days off, but you keep on pumping out stories. Because you've already done all the work on the first day. You get it in early. You take advantage of the weather and you go out golfing, you swimming, fishing, whatever you want. But you got to work hard that first day. And you get your stories done, and then you go back, bang out another 10 interviews, work hard that one day, bang out another 3. There's ways of doing it. You shouldn't be stupid and go there every single day. And work every day. Nobody does that.
Loser.
Thank you. And that's exactly the soundtrack of a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. So you do that. You don't miss anything. You get your stories, come organized, and enjoy the Florida weather because guess what? It's a pretty good life down there.
Will Rich Griffin be down there this year?
I think he will be, yeah.
We should get a hold of him.
We
Rich
should.
is one of my favorite
Yep.
guys.
Yeah, and he's been
He,
there.
he would know some tricks as well.
Well, he should, considering that he worked on both sides of the fence, right? Because when he was with the Montreal Expos, he was part of their media public relations team. So he actually was the one that would be sitting there figuring out who I was going to interview at different times. But I never ever covered the Expos, but Rich was, now a pretty substantial rider here in the city and well covered here as far as Major League Baseball is concerned.
Well, Dave, I gotta use this music, of course, as we're talking baseball. And of course, I gotta use a baseball, kind of sound like this when I'm talking about the MLB, as I like to call it. A lot of guys do. And, here's the thing. Yu Darvish gets signed by the Chicago Cubs. And I'm just curious, Dave, is this guy going to be up to performing at the top levels? They're saying it's not a lot of money for that contract, but trust me, your team starts to lose, the fans, they're not going to be happy. Dave?
It's a terrible contract. And why Chicago would pay that much for that garbage pile? I mean, honestly, if the Cubs win anything, it's not going to be because of Yu Darvish this year. His arm is already starting to slow down, and the dish out that kind of money, man, I've heard of spending money foolishly, but the Cubs right on top of that list, considering that everybody and their dog could have probably had a shot at him in November, but you decided to overpay for him in February? In February, aren't prices supposed to come down when you're a couple days away from spring camp? I mean, if nobody's bidding for him, which I don't know how much people were actually doing it, why would you throw out that kind of money and say, it's almost like, Mike, I going up to you and saying, I like your white van out there, Richards. I know nobody's offered you any money, but I'm going to give you $50,000 for this crappy white van driving by. Can you see that crappy white van?
Yeah, really crappy.
I know nobody.
That's not the car show.
And I know nobody's giving you any money for it, even though you could put it on the auto trader for $1,000.
Yeah.
I'll give you $50,000 for it. Of course you're going to sign it and say, take my crappy van. I don't want it.
Yeah, I looked at it and thought, it feels desperate.
It does.
It does feel desperate.
Russell, by the way, would compete with me because he likes vans with no windows. So you might have a better offer coming from me, so don't take my money yet.
Hope there's shag rug in there. I hope there's shag rug in there. Because if that van is a rockin', don't come a knockin'. Speaking of which, the Yankees might be knocking that ball into the park this year, and not just Aaron Judge either. What do we think of the Yankees? Okay, I'm going to stop it.
We'll get into some baseball. Warren Sackey has promised he will come in studio within the next 3 weeks. We're just trying to hammer down a day.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that.
Let's talk cars.
Now we're going to talk cars here in. I almost said it just a second. Dave. How do people do that? How do people keep up that voice?
I don't know.
Because, as you know, we've done a bunch of bits where they talk forever.
They have,
and they have all the little anecdotes because that's what baseball is. Now, from our good friend, and this was hilarious when I saw this, based on what we did yesterday with a character called Scott Mingus.
Oh, Mingus.
So here's our good friend Robert.
Oh, boy.
In Chicago. He said, I can't believe TSN, NBC, SN, the Sporting News, Yeehaw Sports, ESPN, or some other sports network hasn't presented Mingus with a tribute show. Must be in production.
Thank you.
If not already archived. So as I said yesterday, maybe you want to see the genesis of where Scott Mingus was created. And it goes back to Calgary. It was during the Greek the Olympics in Athens.
Okay. Yeah.
And Kyle Schufelt was the Canadian who had an unbelievable performance.
I think that was 2000.
Oh no, it'd be because I was in Calgary, so it was like 2000 and was it 6?
Okay.
8?
Because 96 they were supposed to get it, but Coca-Cola basically bought it for Atlanta. Because I hear this every single weekend from the family.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Greeks would be sensitive about that.
Yes, they're very sensitive.
So this is Scott Mingus, his first entrance into the Mike Richards world, based on the Athens Games. It was the floor exercise with Kyle Schufelt. Let's drink it in.
Back here on CBC here at Strombolopolis Arena, where we just are about to finish the men's floor exercise. We know that Kyle Schufelt could have the gold depending on this last performance by Enrique Conyo. Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Mingus, and I'm here with former gymnastic legend Spencer Tinglewood. What can you tell us about this performer, Enrique Conyo, Spencer? Well, certainly. Enrique Conyo is just a naughty little dirty little bugger. And here we go. Here's the opening pass. Here's a coital ring plant, double memory twist. Oh, and he finishes with a rectal slide, but a slight dip with his butt release. Yes, that could be a problem. He had that with his qualifying routine. Triple pec loop, Parmesan aerial. Oh, and he missed his landing again and did not complete his compulsory testicular nutcracker. And here's his finish. Single hoopleberry, backward slat spank. And oh, I just saw his balls. Oh my goodness. Oh, I did too. Merry Christmas.
Oh, there you go. There's a picture of Strombo right there. That makes the fans happy.
Good arena name too.
Yeah, it is Strombo. We should get a hold of Strombo. He'll come on. He's got his own thing going on. He'll come on with us. So we're going to talk about the massive popularity of the Canadian International Auto Show. It's on in literally, here's the countdown. 2 hours, or 2 days, 21 hours, and 29 minutes.
Very good.
Not that people are counting.
No.
So the cars that are featured there are the rock stars of that world. They're simply sensational. So as we bring in Petrina, we're going to take a look. This is the brand new. We're looking at an Aston Martin. I think it's called a Vanguard, and this is the LA Auto Show. And if you're watching the broadcast right now and you're seeing what I actually have out there, this thing is sex. Petrina after this. I thought very fitting with that rock sexy. Oh my God. That's where guys go up and they go, I'm going to buy that car. No, you're not. I can tell you, the majority of people are not going to be able to buy that car. But there might be some. But the idea I've always felt about the International Car Show is that the fact is, it's about imagination. It's about art. It's about appreciating sort of the craftsmanship of stuff that normally we don't get this close to it. I mean, unless you're in the industry, you really don't see a lot of that. And so, Petrina Gentili, buongiorno.
Buongiorno, come stai?
Molto bene. E tu?
Bene, grazie.
Oh, look at that. And the capelli is perfetto. Perfetto.
Grazie
Oh,
tanto.
my God. This is mint. This is mint already.
I wasn't expecting this, but this has already turned out to be
I bet you Showdown Joe Ferraro was going, oh, take it easy. No, you take it easy. We're mint, you're not. What an exciting... Now, you work for the Globe.
Yes. I'm a freelance automotive journalist. Been there since 2004. So I have traveled all over the world, test driving everything from Lamborghinis to Pagani Huayras.
And Ferrari, come on.
And Lamborghini. I have to say, Lamborghini has a sweet spot in my heart.
Okay.
Yes.
She said it.
Yes.
So cars have always been your thing, kind of thing.
You know what? I fell
How
into
did you
it.
get into it?
Yeah, I fell into it by accident and never, ever imagined I would have gone into the auto industry. Did my Master of Journalism in Ottawa and worked at CTV right after I finished my thesis. But I was in news. And then an opening came up at BNN. And ended up going there, working on an evening show, met an automotive journalist, Jeremy Cato, and he sort of got the ball rolling with the auto industry, sort of fell into it. We ended up doing a show that was called Car Business, ran on BNN and CTV, and then the Globe and Mail hired me from there. So it just kind of spiraled. Now, like I say, before I knew nothing about cars.
Right.
Now I can look in the rearview mirror and I can tell you the make and model of a vehicle based on its lights.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and here's the thing too: is we're sitting here in 2018 with, I guess, a society that is very careful about when you talk about diversity in many industries, and so people would just assume, you're talking about an industry, that being the auto industry, that is. I mean, that's as guy get. But the reality is, I have a brother-in-law whose sister works at GM. She's very high up in human resources. She's worked the line. My son's worked at GM. His immediate, the foreman of the shift was a woman. And we're, I think, in a time where, I don't think we see it as a male-only industry, especially at some of the more elite levels, some of those that are calling the shots. And I think, is there not also a seminar on diversity within the industry at the show?
Yes, there is. Because women actually account for more than 80% of all car buying decisions. So that's big, and
Huge,
often we're ignored. So the auto show is actually launching an automotive intelligence series. So every single day there's a different theme. And I'm actually hosting one of them, which is called Women on Wheels.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Come on now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And for that particular one, we actually have Laura Schwab. She's the president of Austin Martin of the Americas, coming in from California. Oh,
Wow.
and if you could hear her story, it's just incredible.
The president.
Yes. Yeah, and there are very few females. There's none actually in Canada now that are running automotive companies. So she's one of a handful of women in North America. So it should be really exciting. And then there are other panels, like you say, the diversity panel. There's a panel on aging as well. And cannabis in cars. These are very important issues that are on the forefront. And
Cannabis in cars, you just said.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were trying to sneak that by me.
I'd never do that.
Because I guess in terms of safety, and just now that the people are able to literally almost go to a corner store and have it, then we're talking about real safety issues.
Safety issues, regulations. How do are police ready to police this? What happens if you are caught smoking and driving? So there's a lot of things that are going on, and there's a huge panel with that. We have someone from Colorado coming in.
I bet.
Yeah, we have Carrie Schmidt. People from MAD, so a variety of people, just to have those different viewpoints as well.
And just so people know, when the person from Colorado comes in, they're not going to be talking, going, this is so amazing. No, that's not going to be happening. Trust me. I know people are thinking that.
Every year there's something new. There's something different. Lots of exhibits. When I was kind of reviewing some of the notes from yesterday when we were talking, the 70 years of Porsche is going to be one of the hottest exhibits. What are you looking forward to as far as not only a person that covers and knows about this probably before most of the general public anyway, but what will make you go, oh, I really want to see this?
I think it's got to be hands down the Koenigsegg Agera RS. This is a supercar that
I'm glad you said it and not me.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister, and it is Agera, not Agera. I always hear people saying that. I'm like, no, Agera.
Is it German? Yeah.
This is a supercar like you have never ever
but
seen.
German made, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. I didn't. I'm like, I'm totally right over my head.
I'm either doing that voice or Colonel Klink, and people are gonna get mad. So.
But this vehicle is actually the fastest production car in the world.
Wow.
It was clocked going 457 kilometers on public roads. It beat out the Bugatti Chiron, which had the fastest time, the 0 to 400 time. So this Agera.
0 to 400.
Yeah,
Who's testing these cars?
I know.
It's like, you don't need to go 400.
Yeah, that's right. Unless you're on the Autobahn in Germany.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So this one actually can do it in 36 seconds. It shaved off about 5 seconds from Bugatti's time. And the styling, I don't know if you've seen this vehicle. This is something really to behold. It's stunning.
Are we showing this, Russell, on the...
That is right there, yeah. Yeah, it's
beautiful. Oh my! See, that looks like the Batmobile.
It totally
almost.
does, yeah. And I think it's going to be one of the
It'll
stars
probably
of the
be
show.
faster than the Batmobile too.
Yeah.
So it's like Batman's an upgrade.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, so you being, I'm sure, owning many Lamborghinis.
Oh, yes.
The Urus. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying it slowly because people go, hey. No, the Urus is the world's fastest SUV, and I wouldn't have thought speed was something that you're looking at. But when it comes to Lamborghini, what do you think you're going to get?
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually Urus.
Oh,
That's the way
Urus.
it's properly pronounced.
Of course, yeah, yes.
Yes. But it is, it's spectacular. And I was one of 2 journalists in Canada who got to go to the world premiere in Bologna, Italy in December.
In Bologna.
Oh my gosh. And you had to see this. This was incredible. They actually did the world debut on the factory floor, this brand new factory that, 18 months ago didn't even exist. But we didn't know we were on the factory floor. The Prime Minister of Italy was there, thousands of people. It was unbelievable.
Because it's a very industrial city.
It
There's
is.
sometimes a lot of unrest with the workers because of that issue, and you're saying it's only like 18 months old, so that is a huge contract for that area.
Oh, absolutely. That's bringing in a lot of money. I think it was voted the best employer in Italy as well. And it's weird because they really stayed true to that country landscape. Like, it's not a high rise.
Right.
Everything is,
beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning. And this factory floor, honest to God, you could eat off of it. It is so spectacular.
You'd be eating lasagna.
Yeah.
That I can tell
Of course.
you.
Yes. When we had the dinner, it was the
bolognese.
8-course.
Yeah.
8-course meal. But this Urus, I got to tell you, it's stunning. It's 650 horsepower. It has Lamborghini's first twin turbo engine. It goes 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. I mean, what can you say? And the inside, it looks like
Mint.
a true...
You can say mint.
A mint.
Yeah, it's mint.
Yeah. It looks like a true Lambo.
It's hard to believe when I'm looking at what's going to be there and so forth. It's hard to believe that Hot Wheels has only been around for 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lot younger than 50, but I remember playing with it as a kid.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Everybody listening out there today and watching today, but it's only 50 years old, but they're going to have a little bit of a exhibit with that as well.
Exactly. They're actually creating a track there that kids can play, their Hot Wheels on.
Yeah.
They're going to have life-size vehicles there, like the Darth Vader vehicle.
I heard about that.
Yeah,
Why not jump on that, considering the popularity of Star Wars as well? Right?
Exactly. So this is kind of the perfect thing. And there's really everything for, young people to older people. And this really hits the mark with families, especially with Family Day around the corner.
That's right.
It is. I guess it's the time of year where indoor shows in and around most of the cities that certainly we're talking to, this is where they take place. They are a lot of fun because they said it does cross the technology with art, because what you're telling me, people who don't design those particular cars, almost any car you can think of, they are a thing of beauty. It really is interesting to look at them. And I'm just curious, from the Canadian aspect, what will be featured at the show that, people saying, okay, fine, it's great. We see what comes from Italy and Germany. What about Canada?
Trucks are going to be huge at
Love
the
trucks.
show. Yeah, so do I.
I love a pickup truck.
Yeah,
It's my
me
favorite
too.
vehicle.
Me too. I'm a farmer's daughter. I love trucks.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is really true to my heart.
Did you have uva porvino? Did you do the grapes?
Well, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Well, my dad had a farm in the Niagara area. We did the grapes, but we also did fruit, apples, pears, peaches, plums, picking and packing, loading up his F-150, because, truck buyers are very loyal.
I love the F-150. It's my favorite pickup. It is my favorite pickup.
So the F-150, so 2019, it's going to be available in a hybrid trim. But for this year, what they're showing at the show is the Ranger. Do you remember this mid-size
The Ranger
pickup?
was the smaller body.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad has a Ranger, actually. Yep.
It went on hiatus for about 8 years or so,
Yeah.
and now they're bringing it back because they realized, hey,
Wait a
there's
second.
money to be made.
Wait a second. It really did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd see a really old one every once in a while, but
Well, no. He has a 2005 one, so it was around in 2005.
that's a Stranger,
years
is what
ago.
you did. That's
no.
it's made in Uxbridge by a guy named Ted Ranger.
Oh, Ted Ranger. It's the Stranger. Okay, sorry. Continue. But
So it wasn't on sale for about 8 years. And like I say, Ford realized, hey, we've missed the mark here now. Now we got to get back into this because there's money to be made with Chevy Colorado in this segment.
Yeah.
Nissan has a vehicle in this segment. So they're like, hey, you know what? We got to get into it.
But more compact, smaller?
Exactly. So smaller than an F-150.
Because that's that is a big
Oh,
vehicle.
yeah. And you can't drive that. Like in a downtown area, in downtown Toronto.
I went to a smaller car. I've had a pickup for the last 10 years. I had to go to a smaller vehicle because of where we are right now.
Yeah, so that kind of vehicle makes sense because it's easy to drive, it's easy to park, and then if you want to take off on the weekend and go skiing or snowboarding, you can just pack up the truck and go.
Yep.
And then
Now
we
it's
have-
very competitive, like the truck market within in North America, but in Canada, I assume it's the same thing.
It is, yeah, it is. You know, it's truck buyers are very loyal to the brand.
I think so too.
Yeah, if you buy an F-150, if you buy a Silverado, you kind of stick with it for decades. At least my dad was like that. I mean, I can't remember a time when there wasn't, you know, an F-150 in the driveway.
What is the biggest selling one?
F-150, yeah.
The F-150 still is the biggest selling.
Oh, yeah. It's the king. That's the one to really meet, to beat. So we have like the Ram 1500. That's being redesigned inside, outside. Sheds about 250 pounds or so, but it can actually tow more, and it has a higher payload as well. And the Chevy Silverado, completely redone for 2019. So we'll see that. And that has grown in every single dimension, really spacious inside. And then it has some cool features. So it has like the tailgate that can open and close with the touch of a key fob. Oh. So you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm not doing around some of the other guys, and certainly farmers that are going, oh, yeah, you need your little, can't lift the big door yourself, son? No, I'm not doing it.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool. For me, I liked it.
It's
I'm
a
like,
nice
oh,
option,
yeah.
yeah.
I remember my dad making me go in the back of the bed and stuff, and what a pain. Even the corner steps are a bit bigger as well, so there's bigger room for the construction boots. So.
Well, it's funny because that's one of the day when I did a lot of commercials. There was south of the border, it was Alec Baldwin, and up here it was me doing the voice of all the trucks, and it was Chevy trucks, the most reliable, most dependable trucks on the road.
It's giving me shivers.
Yeah, see, yeah. Where the talent, I'm telling you,
You
it
are.
oozes out like sugo. It's amazing what goes on. Yeah. By the way, let's talk Italian food for a little bit because I have to do it. You know, I mentioned people say, "Why would you say lasagna?" Well, it's bologna. That's where it comes from. So you're down in Napoli, and we started talking about because I love a margarita pizza. You know, so I was right down there, and of course you get very simple. There's a couple places in Toronto that do a nice job. We go to Pizza Libretto. Is nice.
Libretto,
Yeah. I think Queen Margarita on Queen or Queen Margarita.
It's good, but I like
I've never been.
Libretto. I
You
like
weren't
Libretto
expecting
better.
this part, were you?
Yeah, no, but that's fine. Are you kidding? I can talk food all you want. I love the food.
Libretto has that one. It's
Yeah.
like a Diavolo or something. So it's got the picante sausage and all that on
the
there.
sausage is my
the
favorite.
hot
Oh my
peppers,
God.
and people are like,
Yeah.
bad people order that. Well, then you give me, you know, the Vino Rosso and the Devil's Pizza, and I'm not leaving.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
But they don't sell coffee, which I can't understand.
There's no cafe there?
No, there's no cappuccino, no espresso, niente.
What, at the end?
Yeah, they just have tea. I'm like, what?
No.
That
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Or maybe I got it wrong. Hang on. No, maybe it's no tea. No tea, but cafe.
Yeah,
sorry,
I would say
screwed
no
up.
tea. Yeah,
you're right.
Screw
you're
the
right.
Inglaterra. We don't need you. Yeah. Arrivederci. Ciao. Yeah. Thanks for your help. Yeah. Here's a toothbrush. Andiamo. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Sorry, that was my fault. Yeah.
But that's a great place. Now,
my
what is
God.
the best Italian meal that you make? If you're at home, you're a married woman.
No, divorced.
Oh, hey, this also now at the car show
I'm just
in her own
saying,
booth.
right?
Yeah.
Wait, what is happening here?
Yeah. Bring a Lamborghini, and I'm saying there's a good chance here. But if you're making something, what is your specialty?
Lasagna. Lasagna is my specialty.
But the thin
Yes.
noodles, right?
And
Oh,
we
yeah,
make
yeah.
it from scratch. And our sauce, I have to be honest, we make the sauce from scratch. My mom is 88 years old, and she puts. Well, last year we did about 350 tomato plants in the garden. Wow. So we make our own.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Right from scratch.
Right from scratch. And it is a labor of love. It lasts about 2 or 3 months that we do this, from August to about October.
Oh, is the garage covered in
Yes,
it? Or?
yes, of course. The garage is reserved for making the sauce.
Yeah.
And then we make the homemade pasta by scratch as well.
I love the
by
super
hand.
thin. People don't understand. They say, do you like lasagna? I see this. I'm going.
Yeah, no.
Look, I can't eat like a cake.
Yeah.
Like I really can't.
No.
I can't go and do that. No.
And lots of layers. Lots
of layers.
And ricotta. You have
And
to have the
ricotta.
ricotta.
Someone said, "What about cottage cheese?"
Oh my God!
No,
I
you can't. You can't. No, you can't do
How
that.
can you even say cottage cheese?
Yeah.
That makes me sick to my stomach.
Then why don't we just call Chef Boyardee
Yes.
to tell us how to do ravioli?
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
No, it's not gonna
exactly.
happen.
No, ricotta or nothing.
Yeah, see the things. See, we're learning here today.
I
That's
know,
what I'm talking
I know.
about. I love this woman. She's outstanding. What else do we want? Oh, so
Well, let's talk about the Canadian green cards.
Yeah.
They debut at the event as well, right?
Lots of Canadian. Yeah, a couple of Canadian green cards debuting.
Is this something that we're going to see a lot more of in the next couple of years, considering
because people are talking
environmental
about,
issues
oh, it's
and
green. My
everything?
clothes are green.
Yeah.
Like, Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to see this. We saw this in LA at the auto show a couple months ago. We'll see the Jag I-Pace, all-electric vehicle.
Wow.
They say they can go over 500 kilometers of range, go 0 to 100 in about 4 seconds. We'll see the BMW i8 Roadster. This is a beautiful car as well.
And it's green.
It is. It has like a tiny 3-cylinder engine plus the battery. So you can't go very far on the electric power. You can only go about 30 kilometers. But after that, the gas engine takes over. So you're not suffering from range anxiety.
Right.
Because sometimes if you have a vehicle that has a short range, and it's happened to me where I'm just like, as soon as you turn on the air conditioning, the wipers,
So burning it.
the battery drops. Yeah. And you get on the highway speeds. So you can literally be...
How far can you go on average in one of those electric cars?
It depends. Tesla has one of the longest ranges, so 300 plus kilometers, which is great. But, other vehicles, the Nissan Leaf, they will go like maybe at 170 kilometers, 180 kilometers.
You can be sweating a little bit on this.
Yes, and I've driven, I'm in the Scarborough-Pickering area. I've driven to the Globe and Mail in an electric vehicle that said, 170 kilometers. And like literally by the time I get to work, it's down to like 85 kilometers. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this? And there's no place to plug it in. And if it's cold, you're like, oh. And I remember going home, literally white knuckling it. I turned off the blades. I turned off the heat. I had to turn off everything because I'm like, ah. And I was in the danger zone by the time I got home. I'm like, ooh. Yeah. And then when I went to charge it, it said 18 hours charging time. And I'm like, 18 hours? Wow. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I have to be at work at 7 o'clock, and it's now, 10 o'clock at night. Sure. How am I going to charge this? So having that electric power and the gas engine makes it a little bit easier, I think, for people that are trying to be green but don't want to have that range anxiety that I'm going to run out of juice.
If we're fast forwarding to when none of us are no longer on Earth, say 100 years from now, how many electric cars are we going to see on the road at that time? Is there a prediction on it? Is there
no prediction? But the numbers are growing. It's small now. Like right now,
the electric, very small.
It's less than 1% of sales.
Yeah, it's like tiny. I wouldn't know. I don't know anybody who has a car.
There's a Tesla dealership near my area. It's at Lawrence in the DVP. Yep. So every single time I pass there's somebody, something. There's loads of cars being dropped off, and I know eventually people are going to start to, I know the costs have to come down as well, because I think that's critical as well.
Huge.
As much as you want to save the environment, I also can't spend an extra $20,000 on a car that I'm going to get somewhere else that does the same thing, but maybe not as environmentally friendly, right?
Exactly. And it could be cheaper, right? Because by the time that, if you're getting a tiny little Honda Civic or a Honda Fit, maybe that's going to be more affordable like 5 years down the road. Like you're not spending as much on gas as you would for that, paying that premium to drive in an all-electric vehicle.
That's right.
For those families and for those watching today and listening on the podcast, so the cost to go in there, what are we looking at for a family? Is there a family pass?
Yeah, you can get a family pass or you can get a single pass. Single pass is $24, but you can get a discount of 10% if you buy a ticket before the show opens on Friday.
Oh, okay, good.
Family pass is, I believe, $47. So, makes more sense to get that if you are going there with kids. And then you also get access to the Automotive Intelligence Series. Those are free. My event, the Women on Wheels, is actually free, free ticket.
Very
free.
Cool. Yeah, good.
yeah, free event. It's an evening event, so it's a little bit different than the other sessions, which are in the afternoon.
Yeah, is that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or when does it actually start?
It actually starts on Friday.
It does Friday through the Monday Family Day.
Yep, and then it goes all the way actually until the sessions run until the 23rd.
Oh, okay.
And then the show closes on the 25th. So lots to see. I can't get over how much there is, and like I say, for every age group imaginable.
Sure.
You know who would have been a good guest for this? I'm just throwing this in because I have so many great ideas.
What about me?
Yeah,
you are a great guest.
No, you're great too.
Okay.
You're great too.
Okay.
Do you know Sebastian Maniscalco?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen.
Yeah.
Uber, have you heard of Uber? Who's doing this? With a baby in the back seat. A baby.
I love him.
He's the best. He's coming back to Toronto. He loves it here.
Oh, I love him. I was hoping to see him last time because I think he was here, last September, I think it was?
It was like last September, and it was now it's like almost like twice a year he's coming up here because, he comes, he's like a rock star now.
Oh, he totally is.
And
he's
he
hilarious.
is brilliant.
Oh, my God. He's bang on with everything.
Yeah,
and the boost does.
What he's talking about is Nona in the basement making the lasagnas. Great. Anyway, Petrina, thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. This was a
Grazie
lot of
mille,
fun.
grazie mille.
Grazie tanto. Tanto
Unbelievable.
piacere.
You've got to come back in again,
Oh,
too.
anytime,
Yeah.
anytime.
We'll
This
have
is a lot of
food
fun.
next time.
Oh, I want lasagna.
We'll get a lasagna.
Lasagna and
I don't know if we're
espresso.
Espresso. Are you a vino rosso person?
Oh, sì.
What's your
sì.
favorite?
Oh my gosh, I
Ti
love,
piace
I love
Barolo?
Chianti, Barolo. I love any kind of Chiantis. I love.
Chianti, yep.
Yeah, I love everything. And then champagne I do love. That's my
Oh,
weakness as well.
well, you're preaching to the choir here. People are like, when you go to the lecture chair, I just want to be covered in champagne.
Yeah.
I'm getting electrocuted anyway.
That's
I just
right.
want a fountain of it, and
Oh yeah. Now we're talking.
See, there we go. There you go. There's another thing if you want to impress her when you go to the show. Bottle of champagne. And I'm not saying Prosecco. Not that I don't like Prosecco, but she's talking champagne. It's got to be the real stuff.
Right, Veuve.
Okay. Veuve Clicquot. There you go. She wants Veuve. That's what you're going to have. Don't cheap out. Don't show up with no offense to the Niagara, but if it's Jordan's something, out.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, scappa. You're not even, no. Yeah, I was going to use another word, but you'll be showing this. We're going to demo this, so we got to keep it clean. Thank you so much.
Oh, grazie
you're just
tanto.
awesome. Unbelievable. So going out, here's what we're going to show. Because is there any vintage cars?
Yeah,
at
there
this?
is. Yeah, there's classic cars as well. Part of the art and automobile exhibit. So we'll see those. Some coming from the concourse, one of the concourses in the States. So yeah, vintage cars, everything.
We're going to show, and this is so my Woodbridge friends who always know sometimes I do a Roberto Luongo. In the day, it was called Anthony from Woodbridge, and he always talked about Mustang 5-liter pony package, hood pins. Mint. And so going out, this is a 68. If you saw Steve McQueen, the movie was Bullet. This is a Mustang. This is the 68 replica. I mean, well, actually, that era of car. And when you see those this still is great. So going out on the way out, by the way, make sure you get down to the auto show. It's going to be fabulous.
And that will be there.
And this one's going to be there?
Yeah. Along with the new Bullet as well.
See, I didn't even know this.
There was so much to talk about.
Yeah, stop being so great. It's almost annoying now. She's so good. We'll talk to her again. Thank you so much for coming in.
Grazie tanto.
Grazie mille. Here is Bullet. Well, and there it is, and there she goes. Petrina Gentili from the Globe, and of course, all a part, including giving that seminar as well at the Canadian International Car Show, and she was awesome.
She was great.
Oh my God, that's like that was fantastic.
You know what? I hope there's a car show next month.
Yeah, I do too.
Seriously, I mean, if all our guests are that good, woo,
Oh, I know. That's
we're laughing.
you can't. I'm sorry, you can't beat Italy. It's really hard. I'm an Irish person, but okay. So it's a tie. It's a tie. Just amazing. Appreciate that. You're watching Raw Mike Richards, and you're also doing it both on the website, and of course, we hope as you continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate the numbers that have been coming in lately. Some really nice ones, actually. Also want to say that with the Olympics, so John Morris, so Johnny Moe,
Caitlin Laws, mixed doubles gold medalists.
he's just the best guy, too. Like, it's almost impossible to get a hold of these guys, and I thought about it because there's a couple of guys I know who would have his cell, but it's 14 hours ahead of time. He just won. He would have won early in the morning, so guess what's happening? All day today. It is Johnny Moe. He is a firefighter. He is from Chestermere. I know what goes on. This is what happens. He also said he's some sort of chef now. He thinks he can do. He's a chef.
Oh, is that what he thinks?
Come and cook for us.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Firefighters do think they're chefs, though.
Oh, totally.
My brother all of a sudden has become the
Oh, I
world's
know.
greatest cook.
No, the Beaver Man goes there too.
Yeah,
Although the Beaver Man doesn't pretend, but a lot of guys now, because let's be honest, a lot of cooking goes on in those fire halls.
Yeah, and
it's not so much the backdraft every day and running out and saving lives. Sometimes it's about, well, who's having the meatless chili? You know, honestly, it is that way.
And you know what? To his credit, though, and I never tell him in person, he's gotten very good.
Well,
at
they
cooking.
do, but yeah,
it's like, holy crap! You got so much time on your hands. You're becoming a 5-star chef.
Let's take is that Johnny Moe? Have we shown the picture already? Okay, there it is. Johnny Moe and Caitlin.
Very good. Congratulations.
Congratulations. There it is. They're showing
dominated to dominate. I believe it was Switzerland this morning.
Yeah, they crushed them
in the goal. And, you know, even in the third end, they score 4. They come back to give up 1. They score 2. I mean, it was there for the taking. That score could actually have been a little bit worse because they had a draw for 3, which they just barely missed. So, you know what, a dominating effort. And it's funny because they started off the round robin with a loss to Norway. And you almost thought,
that's why I said, what's going on?
Yeah, because
way to go, Johnny Moe, you're shit now.
So, but for them to fall and then kind of regroup, it's a short tournament, just like the hockey, just like anything else, the men's, women's divisions and so forth. You have to get your stuff on track right away. They did it and didn't lose a game after that opening round defeat.
Now, we have that other picture. You probably have to look for it, but it finally probably came through. Did it, Russell, of Michael Kingsbury and the DeFore LaPointe sisters? So Michael Kingsbury, Michael Kingsbury, I guess, has become in that sport. So we're talking about moguls. He's the king.
Yes,
and you see him literally. If Michael and roast beef stood side by side, they could be related.
Same size.
Yeah, it's amazing. So here's the picture from our studio back at the TSN 1050 days. The days where they had what I like to call ratings.
Oh, man, that was a long time ago.
That's tumbleweeds now.
Yeah.
But, boy, it was an awesome studio, and the day they came in was a fun day for all. I mean, it always was great when we had people in. You just saw Patrina in there. This is what we love to do. They were great, too. And for Michael, I can say Michael. I'm Michael Kingsbury. You can't have Michael and Kingsbury. I'm sure we talked about this. So it's Michael. Hey, Mikey. That's what happened. He wins again. We also showed, unfortunately, sometimes what happens in figure skating, and our figure skaters have done well already. Isn't it a team event that they've won? Like, I don't know if the individual stuff has come up because I don't know. But I can tell you that there are sometimes some struggles, some difficulties. I believe this is Russell's brother a couple of years ago, who I didn't know was in pair skating. And I'll be honest, it didn't go as well as I had hoped.
Это было катание Юлии Злобиной и Алексея Ситникова. На разминке тем временем произошла вот такая ужасная трагедия в катании.
No, that wasn't right at the beginning, I don't think, was it? Okay, go. Was it right at the beginning? Okay. It's like you throw luggage on a bed. Here we go again. Now, I believe this is yet another attempt for the flying raspberry. But see, that was during warm-ups. So at least they didn't lose points on that. Nice. And she is down. Steve Armin, she is down. Down. So that's what, once again, figure skating, not what to do. So what else are we going to talk about today?
I don't know. I thought we were going to wrap it up right when she was leaving.
Speaking of the Olympics, so people are they're obsessed with, obviously, Usain Bolt.
Yes.
The fastest
and rightfully so
human being we've ever seen. Now, out of Italy, and this is the under-20s, because if you're looking at who the next Bolt is going to be, if you want to put it that way, because I don't know if we'll ever see anything.
We won't.
That looks like that. Even the physical stature of Usain Bolt was just so different in what we've seen over the years, even though they have. But generally, you see the really slight guys, or it is very rare that God has put together literally something like Usain Bolt. And I'll tell you what, Dave saw that race in London.
Yeah, 2 of them.
And can we say it? Snuck in.
Yeah, we can. You want me to tell the story?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm.
Am I still good with the tickets? Is there nobody showing up there? We're all good? Okay, all right.
Good.
You know us.
Okay, so I'm covering handball at the Olympic Arena, and right beside it is Olympic Stadium, where I think Tottenham plays their games now, right? Is that
West Ham?
West Ham.
Yes, yeah, the Hammers.
You're absolutely right. So we're in the middle of a little bit of a boring relegation game, so I sneak off because I'm very mindful of when the 200 and the 100 finals are. So 100 finals.
It's the heavyweight event. It's the biggest. It's how you cap it off every year.
And maybe the greatest event I've personally watched in my life. So I'm timing it perfectly that, because they're very stringent on time. This is when it starts. This is when everything goes. I sneak into the building and go up to the media, make sure none of the other IOC reporters are around that area. And all of a sudden there's a 5-minute warning to race time. Everybody gets set. They introduce the racers. Everything's fine. And I'll never forget watching it, but the one point of the entire event is when the marksman sits at the starting line, goes, "Take your mark," and there's that dead silence. There's 100,000 people in the building, and there's that dead silence for it feels like 10 seconds, but it's really 1 second. And then he goes, and the place explodes. It was, I still have chills thinking about it and talking about it, but Bolt to win it there was tremendous. And then he goes on with his teammates to win the 4x100s as well. It was maybe the greatest sporting event I've ever watched live.
So this is about a month and a half ago. This is the U20, so under 20. So you have the almost heir apparent coming out of Europe. So then we're talking Europe here, and again under 20. So Filippo Tortu from Italy has run some pretty scorching times.
Yeah,
he is in the blue. In the red, I believe it's Noah. Is it Lyles? Noah Lyles. And so this is the 100, and this is an excellent. There's a lot of good-looking runners in here.
Sure.
There's a guy from Barbados who's outstanding. There's another guy from Jamaica who's a good-looking runner. This is going to be very interesting for the next 4 to 6 years. And, of course, let's not forget about our Canadian because, of course, he's not under 20 anymore. So this is the future of the 100 meters. This is going to be, obviously, I would believe, property of the IAAF.
Okay.
Isn't that the governing
right.
body? So this is so cool. And once again, so you've got Lyles and Tortu side by side, I believe, both lanes 7 and 8. And it's amazing what happens. Does the Italian win? Let's find out.
Lyles in 6 and Tortu of Italy in lane 7.
There you go. So side by side. Here we go. You can hear a pin drop. Such tension.
Well, they go away first time. De Oliveira rather staggered out of the block, staring over on the far side. Chambers has got off to fly, and the Britons come to halt. And look, coming through there is Lyles. And Lyles, in the end, takes it with some ease. 10.18. The Americans so disappointed not to get 2 men into this final. But Noah Lyles, in the end, was head and shoulders above the rest, and it was a dramatic final. De Oliveira slipped out of the blocks. Reckbill Miller, well, ended up in a crumpled heap midway down the straight.
That's that's sort of your future right there of the 100 meters. I still love it, Dave. It's still such a premier event that I had to show it because I saw it today.
I don't remember the last one I missed, to tell you the honest truth. Like I'm trying to think. It had to have been when I was too young and just didn't realize, when these events are on and so forth. Because I still remember Carl Lewis, and I still remember, just leading up to today, right? So, but it's very cool. It's the highlight of the summer games, in my opinion. And I think out of both the winter and the summer, the highlight of the Olympics. Like, I don't think there's an event bigger.
No, there's not.
I'd put that above a gold medal game in hockey, because you don't know who the teams are going to be, and even the team.
More people are watching the 100-meter final around the world than all. It's a World Cup final. Probably in that category. We're talking billions.
It really is.
Not millions. We're talking like a billion.
And it's so funny because the race itself is, well, if it's fast, it's under 10 seconds,
Yeah, it's under 10 seconds. And trust me, all those guys will go sub 10.
Yes.
Does Usain Bolt, does his mark ever get beaten? I guess you'd never say never, but
I hope not.
You better be fast.
What?
See, I can see. Can you see Russell over there?
Let's become best friends. Yep.
He's just burning. He's like, I'm the fastest man.
Karate in the garage. Yep.
Yeah.
It's
time. I don't know why he's so jealous. He's got such an innocent face, but. So today, by the way, congratulations to Jerry Howarth. Even though it is a retirement, We owe him so much, certainly in the city of Toronto and what he has meant to baseball for, boy, since 1981. He has been a class act and one of the greatest and nicest people that I've ever met. Retiring today, sad, but thank you. From the Canadian Auto Show that starts on Friday, the awesome, the amazing Petrina Gentili. Oh, my God, what a delight she was. So head out there, she said, for the whole family, $47. You all get in. Make sure you check it out. Tomorrow we also talk Valentine's Day.
You got it.
Yeah,
we got a guest from Second City, so stay tuned for that. It's called Second Base, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.